Hey guys, Fred Wellman here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am here. We're trying this on Substack for the first time ever. Hopefully, you're here with me. I guess we'll find out. It's great to see you guys. We are live on a Saturday. What was it? I guess it's Thursday night. So we'll give it a shot, see how this thing works. I'm pretty excited to be with you and hang out with you guys tonight. I promised I want to talk to you a little bit about what's going on in the world and how things are going, and make sure we're talking to each other. So I'm getting situated because it's the first time. Hey, technology. Exciting. Oh, great. I'm on. Luckily, I've got my fiance Heather online telling me what's going on. Welcome, guys. I am Fred Wellman. Welcome to our first Substack live stream from the studio, a new thing we've just got going. I'm really excited. I wanted to catch up with you for a little bit tonight about all the crazy stuff going on in the world of the Social Security cuts and everything else they're promising to do us. And the thing about this is, since we did the first, since we had this first discussion yesterday, when I sent out the Substack post yesterday about the Medicare and Social Security cuts and more, it's still a crazy day, and more has gone on and more is going on. And I also kind of want to show you how Democrats are fighting back a bit, right? And because they are fighting back. I know we kind of get on Democrats and they're not fighting back enough, but they really are. Okay, so first, a couple things. If you remember what we talked about, I wanted to kind of give the perspective that these Social Security and these Medicare and these Medicaid cuts are going to affect actual regular people like you and me, right? It's not a small thing that we talk about big numbers. And if you remember, there's some giant numbers when you talk about Social Security and Medicaid, right? You talk about, let's see, what is it? Oh my God, it's just insane. 71.6 million Americans in 2024 were getting Social Security benefits. That's around 20%, 21% of all living Americans. With Medicare, more than 66 million people in the United States receive Medicare benefits. That from everything 65 and older, but also younger. Medicaid and Children's Health Insurance Program, 82 million people, including low-income children, pregnant women, more, all get their health insurance through Medicaid as well. These are huge programs, but how does that touch you? And one of the things we talked about yesterday for the first time, and I never even heard of filial responsibility before till now, but I did, and so I looked at this. Filial responsibility is the idea that in many states, in many countries, they've got hold on, and what they've got in many states, 29 states, filial responsibility means that you are responsible for the paying for your elderly parents' way if they don't have money. So in 29 states, to include California and Pennsylvania, West Virginia, big states, if your elderly parents can't pay for a nursing home or otherwise, then you'll be responsible, even if you don't have a relationship with them. And they will very well garner your wages. And to think about that, the average nursing home cost per room per month is $7,000 to $9,000. And a memory care facility for dementia is $8,000 to $9,000 to $10,000. You'll be paying that if they cancel your parents' Medicare or Medicaid or these other programs. So for that perspective, we want to talk about it. But I want to jump on too and show you what's been happening since we talked. Now, obviously, Joe, we know Musk is down for this. We showed you this clip. Let's show this clip real quick of what Musk said about. This is what he was on. First, let's talk about what he said when he was on Fox Business the other day with Larry Kudlow.
So the wage support in entitlement spending, which is which is most of the federal spending is entitlements. That's like the big one to eliminate, because that's the sort of $500 billion, maybe $700 billion a year. That is also a mechanism by which the Democrats attract and retain illegal immigrants by essentially paying them to come here, yes, and then turning them into voters.
Yes.
So this is why the Democrats are so upset about the situation, because they're losing. If we turn off this gigantic money magnet for illegal immigrants, then they will leave, and they'll lose voters.
But you have president's support. He said so again yesterday. He completely supports your operation.
Yeah. Well, thanks. But that's super. Without the president's support, we couldn't make any progress here. Yeah, I mean, where you'll see the biggest outcry is from the Democrats who are, they don't want the waste and fraud to be turned off because it is a gigantic magnet to attract illegal immigrants and have them stay in the country. And I mean, you see some of the crazy stuff, like where
Okay, I mean, not beyond the awkwardness of what he's saying, because he's incredibly awkward and painful to watch. I admit it freely. But on top of that, what we're seeing is the idea that he's calling it the big one. He's calling Social Security the big one, the big cut that he wants to make is Social Security the most, more than anything. And of course, you're right; those are all lies, right? You know, it is not true. But did you see him on Joe Rogan as well? I didn't include this in the post yesterday, but maybe you haven't seen this post too.
Yeah, well, you can tell me better than anybody.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Right, explain that.
Oh, so well, people pay into Social Security, and the money goes out of Social Security immediately. But the obligation for Social Security is your entire retirement career. So you're paying with you're paying like if you look at the future obligations of Social Security, it far exceeds the tax revenue.
It's kind of painful to watch, isn't it? I mean, watching him talk is so painful. And everybody makes excuses. Oh, he's autistic and all, but I'm not touching that, okay? Because I actually do have children on the spectrum, and that ain't it, folks. Okay, he's just fucking weird. He's on ketamine. He's a mess. But so what he's saying is he's calling Social Security a Ponzi scheme, and that it's a ripoff. That the money goes into it, and you're not, you're paying in the future. When you and I know the Social Security isn't structured that way. That if they'd stop pulling from it, if they'd stop stealing from it, because that's what they're doing, they're stealing from it, it wouldn't be going down. If they just left the Social Security Trust Fund alone, we'd be fine. But that's not what's happening. It's become a great little money thing to steal from, and that's what they're stealing from as much as they can. And it's just ridiculous at this point, isn't it? I mean, it's just, these are all lies. But I want to talk a little bit about that and just how bad it is. Now, today, let me show you these news. I'm going to bring up my slide deck. We're very fancy here, by the way, folks. This is the first time we've run a Substack. I don't think I sent an email out. Just for those of you joining, thank you, because I don't think the email went out, and it's the first time, but you got the deal. But let's go over here. I want to show you this, some of this thing that happened today. If you didn't see it, you missed a good one. What happened today is this is what's really going on. The story came out in the Washington Post that Doge is pressuring Social Security to cut the phone service. What they want to do is they literally want to cut the phone line that the average person gets hold of Social Security Administration through. Now we're talking senior citizens, folks. Senior citizens. They want to get rid of, they want to force, if you read that first paragraph, if you can, it says they want to force them to use either the internet, talking to AI, or going to in-person field offices instead of just calling on their phone. If you can imagine such a thing. That's what they want to do to our senior citizens. Now, I don't know how your parents are. I'm not sure how my parents would have been. They've passed, but I do have elderly people in my life. Making them drag their ass to a Social Security office. We have family members who are snowbirds and they live in Florida, but their residence is in another state. How are they going to do it? They have to shag their ass all the way back to Missouri to go to that Social Security office, just to get rid of people who man a phone line, to save money, that doesn't need to be saved. So it is just ridiculous at this point, and I'm very, very tired of it, and you're tired of it. But these are the lies they're spinning. Thank you, by the way. Thank you for getting the word. You did get the notice, Patricia. Thank you. I do see the comments on the screen now. And I'll explain what's going on, by the way, in a minute once I get through this. But this is the thing they came out with today. So they want to get rid of the phone line to save money. And this is the kind of outrageous shit we're dealing with. I mean, I couldn't imagine 80-year-old people trying to navigate the internet, this complex website, dealing with an AI chatbot, or dealing with going to a field office. But this is the kind of stuff they're coming up with. So even though we think they're backing off, they're not. It's just getting worse and worse, and they refuse to stop. The thing is, Medicare cuts also are damaging. Now, what I loved about you guys, and I love this community that we have here, is, I put out my Substack, and then a ton of you guys replied. That's why I wanted to do this tonight, because so many of you guys replied to my Substack with some really good points. And one of the good points a friend of mine made, Eric Richardson, who is a good friend of mine here in Missouri, he pointed out that rural hospitals get a ton of their money from Medicare patients. The majority of the people coming into a rural hospital are often Medicare or Medicaid, which they also want to cut. So these folks, those hospitals, now here in Missouri, we've lost 13 rural hospitals in the last like 6 years, 6 to 10 years. Okay. Much of that because Missouri refused to expand Medicaid coverage when they had the opportunity over the ACH. That's the kind of damage it does. Now, cutting that, they're asking the Energy and Commerce Committee to cut $880 billion from their budget, which is going to affect Medicare and Medicaid. That's what's going to happen. So, my fiance, who's also in the health business, she pointed out, Fred, it's not just rural hospitals, though. It's the majority of hospitals. So, look at the stat. And this is from the American Hospital Association. Majority of hospital payments depend on Medicare or Medicaid. So, you, ladies and gentlemen, even your big urban hospital that you rely on, like the Barnes, whatever they have right here, Barnes Noble. that's a store. But we have the Barnes Jewish Healthcare System here, Washington University System here. The average hospital relies heavily. 96% have at least 50% of their inpatients paid by Medicare and Medicaid. 82% of hospitals have 67% or more of their inpatient days covered by these programs. So when you talk about cutting Medicare and Medicaid, you're talking about literally devastating our entire healthcare system. It's not just the poor's that they're going to go after. And considering the fact that most people in these programs are 65 or older, the devastation for them saving money is ridiculous. And that brings us to the other topic, which is them saying they're trying to fight fraud, waste, and abuse. Look, folks, it ain't recipients of healthcare that are doing the fraud, waste, and abuse. It's the fucking doctors. And you know this. One of the most egregious cases. We had a case where my first wife lived up in upstate New York. I think a local doctor scammed him for like $20 million in fake payments to Medicare and Medicaid. Okay. It's the doctors. Goddamn, Rick Scott, the senator from Florida, his company led one of the largest Medicare frauds in history, and nobody went to jail for it. They paid a fine while their lives. The fraud and the theft is coming from the companies, not the people they're cutting, right? They're screwing little people so the corporations can keep making their money. And that's what's so infuriating about this. So it's just insane. And that's the kind of stuff we're seeing, and we've had these conversations. And as my daughter pointed out, who is a 20-something, a 20-something young woman in health, what she's pointed out too is, let's not forget CHIP, okay, because Medicaid and CHIP, the Children's Health Insurance Program, you cut that, it's mostly pregnant women on those programs. It's newborn babies. If you cut Medicaid and CHIP, well, we've also cut abortion access in 13 states, like here in Missouri. So we're forcing more young women and women to have babies, and then we're going to cut the health insurance to help them do it. That's the ridiculousness of this whole thing. And they say it's on us. And so we're going to have, those are the kind of things that make us really mad. We talked about the real fraud. We talked about live stream. We talked about a lot going on. I wanted to show you something really cool, you guys. So if you're not familiar with them, I had a guest on the show a few weeks ago on the Sunday show. If you haven't caught my Sunday show, it's now going to be broadcast live here on Substack on Sundays as well. I'm really excited about that. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific. Sorry it's so early, but it is Sunday morning. Our On Democracy Sunday will now be broadcasting not just on YouTube and my social channels, but also here on Substack. So you'll be able to watch the Sunday show live, the best Sunday show broadcasting today, right here on Substack. But I had this guest on the other day, Joe Jacobson of the Progress Action Fund. Now, I think I'll show you their latest commercial first because it relates to what happened. And then I'll show you a little clip of the interview I did with Joe about what they do. So first, this is a new ad that just posted today from the Progress Action Fund. You might recognize the style because several of these ads came out during the campaign. But here's the latest ad from the Progress Action Fund.
Doctor, he's flatlining.
We need to get him into surgery.
Sorry, you can't do that.
What are you talking about? Who are you?
I'm your Republican congressman. Now that we're in charge, we defunded Medicare, and we're not paying for this surgery.
This man is dying. Now get out of the hospital.
I won the last election. I'm not going anywhere. But don't worry, we made sure Medicare still covers Viagra, and I need a refill.
I mean, That's kind of messed up, isn't it? But it's a great ad, and that's what these guys do. They do these ads that are. You may have seen some others they did. There's one of a couple making love, and they had an accident. He went to get the Plan B, and the Republican congressman stopped him from getting the Plan B. There's a really heartrending one of a man, his wife's dying from a miscarriage, and she needs an abortion, and the Republican congressman steps in and says, "No, you can't get an abortion." So I had Joe. This is a 2-minute clip. I had Joe Jacobs, and again, I asked him. I said, "What do you think of this messaging?" I was kind of making a complaint about some of the Democratic messaging, and Joe, this is Joe Jacobson from the Progress Action Fund, the folks who created that ad.
Lots of America guys talk a lot about this, where Democrats are reading the teleprompter notes. So I think we kind of need to be speaking in the language of, not to be too blunt about it, but the UFC fight. I mean, we need to be, our slogan on our website is when Republicans go low, we go lower. So I think we need to actually pretend we're in the octagon a little bit, but then we also need to be using the language of everyday folks, not, a republic if you can keep it type stuff. To be honest, I didn't learn that in high school, and I'm in politics to say the least. So I think it's important that we're just trying to tie things back to everyday people. The USAID conversation is really good because most of it is pretty theoretical about, we need to keep our standing in the world and, be a leader. And that's fine. But I think the key points to hit on that is farmers are going to lose their jobs. Farmers, with billions of dollars and thousands of jobs are created by the U.S. sending crops overseas to help people. That's good for business here. If Trump and Elon Musk want to cut that, that's bad for business. It's bad for jobs. So I think we need to make it very practical. When people are paying attention to politics, they're like, what are you doing for me? Not, what are you doing for the general Earth or solar system?
Well, it's also, you tell the larger story, the smaller story. I think one of my most frustrating things is that we get stuck up in data and nebulous things. Like, this is another tax cut for billionaires. Like, okay, I get it. We had a guest last week on who pointed out that when they did polling on that, only 5% of people are actually rich, but 20% of Americans think they're rich, and another 20% of that top plan to be rich. And so when you talk about tax cuts for rich people, they go, that's going to hurt me when I'm rich, right? And we keep doing that message. It's like, okay, that doesn't work. Where the truth, like I said, is no, you're going to be out of a job, or this is break. What would happen if you broke the law, right? And what would happen if you decided to break the law? And it just seems like we're flailing about. Democrats have this habit of talking data, right, instead of story.
100%. If y'all queue up the ad, I can allude to, you'll get the picture better. But for one ad we're thinking about, it's basically two guys are struggling to pay the bills. And then in comes your Republican congressman who's subservient to Elon Musk in a pretty visceral way. If this is the red line, we're always above the red line. So there will be some content where it's not just that, Republicans are subservient to their sugar daddy Elon, but that it's at your expense. Prices are higher, eggs are higher. And what are they focusing on? They're focusing on renaming the Gulf of Mexico, Mount Denali, Nancy Mace and Lauren Boebert, checking your genitals before you go into the restroom like they tried to do at the Capitol. They're just weird, man, but they're focused on that stuff, not on you. That's the important piece.
And it is weird, and they are dicks. I mean, I thought I cut that part out. Sorry. They are dicks. I mean, that's a great taste of what Autumn Moxie Sunday's like. By the way, if I caught the show, we have great guests. I think we're going to have Rosa Brooks on this week from Georgetown. He's going to talk about national security. She was name checked by J.D. Vance for criticizing him. But anyway, so join us in the Sunday show. But you can see that's the kind of messaging I love, right? And I wanted to show you that ad because we all want to see some fight, right? This is what we want. We want the fight. We want our Democratic representative fight. There's been great frustration. We saw it yesterday where the fight I was thrilled to see all but one Democrat voted against the continuing resolution. Now the Senate's have that fight. I don't know where we are in the Senate fight right now, to be honest with you. It's up in the air still. John Fetterman's already saying he's going to vote for it no matter what. We're hearing some weird rumors that Chuck Schumer is actually whipping some weird deal. I don't know, but here's what I do know. I do know this is we're looking for people to fight. And I wanted to get on tonight and show you this one. It's probably the last thing I show you before I let you go for the night. If you haven't caught this clip today that happened, this is Congressman John Larson at the Ways and Means Committee today. And folks, this is how I want to see Democrats put up a fight.
We're an equal branch of government. and you start off with a blather, and yet we look at the empty seats here. Where's Elon Musk? I'm sure he's a genius and is a very credible person because of the wealth he's accumulated. But that does not put him above the law or the responsibility to come before this committee in this Congress. If he's so great, if these plans and all the fraud and abuse that he's found are so eminent, why isn't he here explaining it? You know why. Because he's out to privatize Social Security. He's been on television the last couple of days talking exactly about Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, and what he intends to do. Privatize it. The American people, some of them may have been born at night, but not last night.
I love that. I mean, come on. That's it. That is it. He is not having their bullshit, right? Where is Elon Musk? Why has Congress foregone their actual sacred duty as a co-equal branch of government? Why are they not there? Why are the Republicans giving away their freaking power? You know, this Republican House go down in history as the House of Representatives that gave away Article 1 of the Constitution, gave away their power. That's unacceptable. And I see your comments about John Fetterman. Look, I don't know what to say about John Fetterman. Hey, look, I get the concern with being blamed for shutting down the government, but that's bull. Because the only people that keep the government out, they are the majority. They have a 53 majority in the Senate. They can close or keep the government. If they need Democratic votes, that's on them. They should sell their own damn Republicans to solve their problems. But to blame the Dems for a government shutdown, and that goes for Fetterman too, blaming Democrats for a government shutdown. Sorry, dude. They cut $22.8 billion, y'all, from the war power, the Toxic Exposures War Fund under the PACT Act. This expanded the veterans' health care for over 1.5 million veterans in the last 3 years since the PACT. And the Republicans tried to cut that crap since the day it started. They zeroed out that fund. Then they lied and they were taking care of veterans. And John Fetterman wants us to vote for that crap? No, I want you to fucking fight. Pardon my language again, you know? You want them to fight. So let's hold their feet to the fire. They need to be fighting like Congressman Larson. Yeah, you know, it's funny how often I get people in my mentions say, Fred, you know, that's just performative anger. Okay, great. I love it. Because you know why? We're angry. I see you guys in the moments here. I see you here. You're angry too. We're all angry. And we want to see our elected representatives at least reflect that and understand it and show it and understand the people who work for them. I'm going to show you a clip. And this is the clip that really gets me every time. I show this clip a lot. If you watch my show, you may see this. This is Russell Vought. And this is the guy who's now in charge of the Office of Management and Budget. You know, allegedly the guy who's trying to fire all these people. He's working for, you know, Project 2025 and all. And you hear the story. I'll show you. Let's show you this first. This isn't really about Social Security and all, but it does relate because the Social Security Administration, they're talking about cutting. Today they announced they're going to cut 7,000 employees. 7,000 employees from the Social Security Administration. 7,000 employees. They're terrorizing these employees that are left. They want them to quit, okay? So this came out today on NPR. Talks about Trump's policy to destabilizing mental health care for veterans. But here's why. If you read the story, the reason it's being destabilized is because of the way they're terrorizing and undermining the actual caregivers and healthcare providers. It came out this week, y'all, if you didn't see it, that because they call this return to work policy, where everybody has to come back to the office, there's not enough room in these buildings because most of these people were hired to be remote. They do telehealth. Telehealth's a big damn thing nowadays. And believe it or not, it came out this week that VA mental health providers are being forced to work in cubicle farms and do their counseling sessions in open cubicles. Open cubicles. Because they don't want the, you know, there's not enough office space for them. So while you're getting mental health care counseling, you're telling your secrets to your counselor, they're in an open cubicle. So that's why the story here about destabilizing mental health care for veterans is because they're terrorizing and undermining the actual health care providers. And let's show you. And so that word terrorizing is important, and traumatizing. It's another word that's important. That's why it's important, because here's this asshole.
We want the bureaucrats to be traumatically affected. We want, when they wake up in the morning, we want them to not want to go to work because they are increasingly viewed as the villains. We want their funding to be shut down so that the EPA can't do all of the rules against our energy industry because they have no bandwidth financially to do so.
Yeah, you heard that right. He wants them to be traumatized. We want them to be the enemy. We want their funding to be so much cut that they don't even want to go to work anymore. They don't want to enforce regulations. That's what's going on. So when we go back to the topic of this conversation, I'll wrap it and let you go here soon. I'm so glad you guys found me. That asshole is Russell Voigt. He is the director now. That was before he could join Vought. He is the director of OMB. That's the guy in charge of all the personnel for the government. That's the guy letting them send out these 5 bullet emails from Doge. Okay, so yeah, that's the guy who says the guy in charge of personnel for the government is the guy who says he wants them traumatized. But back to the top, okay? Recalling these Social Security people back to their office, firing 7,000, announcing, VA this week announced they're going to fire 83,000 employees. And then, but now they've announced they're going to fire 83,000 with their goal being 2019 levels of manning. 2019, same year Trump was president. Now they're going to lead a comprehensive review of who that should be and the right way to do it. Look, I wasn't born yesterday, like Congressman Larson said. I'm smart enough. I was in business long enough to know, no, you do the analysis first for the right sizing, and then decide who and how many need to be fired. But that's not what they did. So what they've done is those same caregivers you just heard about, they just announced, hey, 83,000 of y'all, 15% of the employees of VA, we're going to fire you. But don't worry, we'll let you know who it's going to be later. Can you imagine working in that way? Oh, by the way, at the same time, I still want you to do spinal surgery on veterans. I still want you to do healthcare, mental health counseling for veterans. I still want to process their travel documents, making sure they get their appointments on time. But you know what? You may get cut tomorrow. Have a nice day. And then the son of a bitch has the audacity. I'm not going to show the clip because I hate Doug Collins so much. The son of a bitch has the audacity to do an interview with Patricia Kine from military.com where he attacks her. They film it themselves. He attacks her for spreading rumors and terrorizing his employees. No, Doug Collins. No, Russ Vought, Elon Musk. You're terrorizing federal employees, and you're tearing apart our government. And we know that's your goddamn plan because you told us. What questions do you have? I can see you in the chat. I see so many Edwin Wine. So good to see you, my friend Jones. I mean, I recognize so many of the wonderful names here that are with us, the hardcore people that actually got the notice about this. I'll do better next time. It's our first time doing this from the studio. So for those you don't know, Substack's really doing some great upgrades. So this is my plug for Substack. Substack has upgraded quite a bit. So you can do live streams, but it used to be, if you remember my first one I did the other day, I did it side. Oh, there's Heather. Hi, there's my fiance. Sorry, Heather. You could only do it in your phone, right, from the app. And I did the other day, and I did it sideways by accident because I'm not smart. But I discovered today that they've recently introduced the ability for you to stream from your desktop to live stream on StreamYard. It's in beta, and I was fortunate enough for them, and they were kind enough after I asked them to give it to me. So I'm now streaming from my regular studio to you guys here on Substack. So you're going to see a lot more content from me now because of that. You're going to see my Friday night show on Democracy with FP Wellman that is exclusively on YouTube on the Midas Touch Network, but it's going to be here exclusively for you guys on Substack starting Friday. In addition, of course, like I said, Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, you're going to see On Democracy Sunday. Last week I had Harry Dunn. We had I had these incredible panels. We had the funniest people. It's not all dour. It's talking. We did a lot of laughs. This week was really inspiring. Mark McEwen, former journalist, had a stroke, and then Kevin Pierce, he's a former snowboarder who had a bad accident, got a traumatic brain injury. We had the two of them on talk about Brain Injury Awareness Month. And, and it was funny because they both talked about like the little weird things about coming with those injuries and stuff. So it was a really great conversation. We often have elected officials. I'm hoping to have Congressman Eugene Vindman this week. I had Alex Vindman on last week. Just a lot of great guests. So I hope you'll join us Sunday mornings at 11 every week, all that. And my final plug I got to give you is, If you're free, obviously you can see all this is for free. If you're a subscriber to the FP1's On Democracy Substack, it's all free. But I do ask, if you like what you're seeing and you want to see more content like this in the studio, live streaming, better content so I can get my stuff together, if you upgrade to paid, I'd be most appreciative. It helps me do my work, helps us pay the bills. I've got a booker now. I've got 2 producers running the show. I mean, we are growing this thing. It's really exciting. So if you want to be a part of that, become a paid subscriber. I'd very much appreciate it. And that's what I've got. So with that, anybody got any questions? The ads, yeah, Murray, the ad I showed you from, it is available. They tweeted it out. It's Progress Action Fund, PAF, and they've got those running online. I don't know if they're running them on TV anywhere, but they are available online everywhere. Murray, you can check that out. Let's see, what else we got? Any questions? Next time you gotta bring questions, guys, so we can talk. Now that I can see you. This is great. It's so cool. I love this. I love this setup. I'm really loving Substack, be able to talk to you guys directly this way. I hope you like it too. If you do, there'll be more coming. Vets protesting Sunday. Thank you, Holly. There is a large protest, I know, in Washington on the 14th and through the weekend. I'll be here in St. Louis on Friday at the John Cochran, we call him Johnny Cochran, the John Cochran VA Hospital in St. Louis on Grand Avenue. We've got a number of local groups, Indivisible, the local Democrats, St. Louis County Democrats, Vote Vets, represented by me, will all show up. We're bringing signs. We're going to come out there and support the VA employees and the veterans they serve. We want those VA employees that are being terrorized by Doug Collins and Elon Musk to feel the love. And we're going to come out there and fun. Chris Woltz, oh my God, one of my favorite people on earth. What do I think what the Senate should have for the GAP budget? That's a great point. And that's the question of the day, right? What should they ask for? I'm hearing rumors that for Schumer's looking for a 1-month bill instead of a 6-month bill. I hate continuing resolutions. It's just an excuse for them not to do their work, not to do their jobs. What I really hate about this continuing resolution is they put a lot of zeros in there. But what's really dangerous about this continuing resolution is it allows Musk, in a lot of ways, I feel like they're just buying time for Musk and Trump to destroy more things. Because look, the tactic they're using, you guys, is destroy it all before we can stop it. And even when the courts step in, it's too late, right? When you've already brought 10,000 people home from overseas and sold the buildings overseas, it doesn't matter if a judge says, well, you got to put USAID back. You couldn't have fired those people. They're going to say, sorry, judge, too late. Sorry, Congress. We already fired everybody. We already got rid of all the buildings. Oopsie. That's what they're trying to do. So by doing a continuing resolution that goes 6 months, they're giving Elon and Trump more time to F things up. Okay? So that's one problem I have with it. So I think that's why Schumer's been fighting for a 1-month funding bill, thinking that way he's going to force them to do their jobs. But come on, man, you know what's going to happen. And they're going to do the same damn thing. Republicans cannot govern. They cannot. This is guys. Remember, we're no shit. If you understand continuing resolutions, the budget we're operating under was Nancy Pelosi's. When you hear Republicans say that, I believe Congressman Massey from Kentucky, he voted against it because we're literally running on Nancy Pelosi's budget. And that's true. They have not done a proper budget process the entire time they've been in power, if you can imagine such a thing. And so these continuing resolutions just buy them time, and they just tweak, and they zero out 28 items and say they're doing their jobs. So I don't know. I'm not really sure that Schumer's job of trying to just stop it for a month is bad, but I'm also the mind. Let's just let them flounder, okay? And there is danger. Democrats will get blamed for shutting down the government. Blah 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 blah. You know what? They want to be in charge. They want to be the big boys. They want to be the big girls. They want to be tough. They want to act badass. Great. Run the government. Run it. But you don't get any Democrat votes to do it. Okay? And so if they want to be the big man on campus and the big woman on campus, the big jerk on campus, great. It's on you. Congratulations. You won. You're right. You got 53 in the Senate. You got all of like 4 votes in the House. You got it. And then let them flounder. And I'm not saying like James Carville, we roll over and I'm not saying that. But I am saying at some point, stop giving them votes. Stop giving them votes. Okay? Stop. Rubio got voted on. They gave him votes. They voted on the labor. Democrats voted on the labor. Just stop giving them votes. Okay, the Republicans wouldn't do that. The Republicans never voted yes on anything. Tommy Tuberville held up promotions for 9 months. He almost shut down the entire General Officer Corps. Josh Hawley shut down diplomatic appointments for 6 months. Stop being weak, okay? Start bucking up and fighting back. And this inside DC games of, oh, we're gonna agree to this but not agree to that. I'm gonna tell you something. The Republicans don't remember shit you did for them. They only remember what you're gonna do for them. And so the idea that because you voted for Rubio is gonna give an in or they're gonna help you out when you try to freaking when you want something from them later, they don't give a shit. The minute you freaking surrender, they call that what it is, a surrender. So look, I'm of the opinion, screw it, shut the whole goddamn thing down. Because look, let's be honest. Is it really worse than what they're doing? I mean, honestly, they're destroying the government. Sure, shut it down. At least Elon Musk will have to shut the fuck up for a week. But that's me. What do I know? I'm just a guy from Kirkwood, Missouri public school system. But I do think that it's time for us to stop playing these old school Democrat, old school Washington patty cake games. Because look, Chuck Schumer's been in the Senate since Christ is a corporal. And they think this is how it's supposed to be. They think, oh, well, I'll give them this vote. They'll give them that. Those people, we don't get that shit. And the Republicans haven't played that game in years. So I just, shut it down. Stop giving them votes. Every vote should be pure Republican. And they should fight amongst themselves to find those votes. Because when we give them the out, they don't have to fight amongst themselves. They know that some Democrats going to rescue their ass because, norms and traditions. And I'm not having that shit anymore. I don't know you guys, but that's me. That's where I'm at. So I say shut it down. They want to be in charge. Great. Congratulations. You are in charge. Do your thing. Govern. Go govern. Let's see if they can do it. Well, there you have it, guys. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to go have a cocktail. Looks like I already was. My hair's a mess. But anyway, you can see my fiance's out of town because I'm a mess. But hey, I appreciate you guys. I'm sorry the email didn't go out, but those of you that found it, 150, you found me anyway. I love that. I hope you like this format and this style. You can tell me, do you guys dig this? Is it good? You want to do more of these later? I'm happy to do these all day. Would you guys be interested in my partner had a great idea. She had maybe every day, like a lunchtime, like a 10-minute update of what's going on in the world. Would you guys dig that? Where we go live like this with like 3 or 4 news stories of the day. Would that be cool for you guys? Let me know. Send me a notes on Substacks. Put in the comments for this. I'd love to hear from you. But that's a really great idea my partner Heather has, who is the brains of this operation, by the way, just so you know. Heather is the brains of the operation. I hope she went to bed in Boston. I don't know. I don't want to get all excited because you think, would you guys love that? Okay, so let's look at doing that. I think this is a great place to find your news, and I'm really enjoying the community we're building here at Substack. We're getting bigger by the day, so I would love to see more of these. I'd love to see you guys. I really appreciate you. Man, it's so good to see Chris Woltz's name there. Chris, I'm a huge fan. So Edwin, oh my gosh, old friends. I mean, man, this is so awesome. I love seeing you guys doing this. So again, you'll see the new, it'll be taped, but you'll see the new On Democracy with FP Wellman Friday, and you'll see an all new live, first time ever on Substack, live On Democracy Sunday broadcast. I hope you'll tune in for it. In the meantime, thank you for everything. I'd love to get Heather Cox Richardson. I'd give my left foot to get HCR. I've actually reached out to her. I will try and get her. We'll get some guests on next time. We'll have a lot of fun. So with that, you guys go to bed. I know it's late in the East Coast. It's not as late in the West Coast. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining me on such short notice. Let's keep up the fight. Like I say, every time you see me, let's keep up the fight. Call those congressmen, call those representatives, no matter which party they are. Let them know that you're watching and you expect them to do their damn jobs, because that's what we need. Let's do our job. Keep fighting. Thanks for coming on, guys. I appreciate you. I'm going to have to figure out how to end this. And we will see you very soon.